Welcome back to Ori and the Blind Forest. I figured I should get another episode out today before, or so that I can actually finish the game before the sequel comes out in 8 days. I'm so excited. This game was the first Metroidvania I ever beat, especially ever 100%ed. I haven't even beat Super Metroid. And the second is soon to be Hollow Knight. Hollow Knight's really fun too. This definitely overtakes it by quite a large margin. This game is really, really good. But Hollow Knight's also pretty fun. I don't even know how far I am into Hollow Knight. I'm fairly far. I think I have like 10 hours in it or something. Nothing huge, but a significant amount. Nothing like what I have with Xenoblade right now, which is already at 10 hours. Xenoblade is really good. Xenoblade 2 specifically. Well, that's not what I wanted. I meant to do that in a completely different order. Oh well, that's fine. It's okay. I was actually just playing Xenoblade before this, and I didn't want to stop playing so that I could record this, but I figured I probably should. So, gosh, I just got a new game, and Will of the Wisps is coming out. I don't know what I'm gonna do with myself. Trying to decide between all the games that are coming out, or all the games that I want to play. Let's see. So right now we're diving underwater. Later you get an upgrade that gives you infinite breath. But right now we are underwater. Gonna go by there slowly, trying to find keystones so that we can get through a door. Essentially, as you do with keys. Yep. The animation in this game is very pretty. Like, not just the visual style of the game, but the overall animation quality and like the fluidness. It feels good. Animation is a large part of what makes a game feel. If the animation looks like garbage, but the game plays incredibly, the game is going to feel like garbage. Because animation is just such a large part of what makes the game fun, despite it not seeming like all that much. Dang it, I died. That wasn't supposed to happen. I was going to say I should probably soul link more often, but I couldn't have even soul linked if I wanted to. Oh well. Let's see. I have developed games in the past. Or not developed games, worked on game projects. I haven't finished any necessarily. I got close with one of them, but the artist was disorganized, which meant the entire project was slow, because we didn't have any assets at all, other than like music, which I worked on. Music is also a huge part of games. If a game doesn't have music, it feels barren. It feels like it doesn't have heart. You could have an incredible game, but if it doesn't have a good soundtrack, the game is basically pointless. Unless, it does depend on the kind of game you're going for. Because if a game has any story whatsoever, it's going to need music. If it's a puzzle game, it's going to need music to keep them entertained, or to keep your ears entertained while you're playing. That's not necessarily a requirement for a good puzzle game. But with something like a story-based game, you need music. Otherwise, your story isn't going to be conveyed properly because you won't be able to tell the emotion outside of what the characters explicitly state, which isn't a good way of storytelling. You want things to be implied more so than told specifically. I'm trying to write a book. It's not... I mean, I'm not very far into it. I'm gonna drown. I'm not very far into writing the book. Oh gosh, okay. But I've learned that explicitly stating what's happening isn't a good idea. You want things to be implied. And you want to switch things up. Like saying, you don't have to say this person said this every time the person says something. If it's a conversation between two people, then you can just have quotes instead of saying which person says what every single time. Like quote this person, or quote this quote this, and it'll be clear that it's switching between the two. You know? Or you can use punctuation instead of statements to say how, or to give off the feeling and emotion in someone's voice. It's a similar sort of thing with music. You don't want everything to be clearly stated. Like, instead of saying, like, say you want to convey anger in a song, instead of saying I'm mad in the song, you could have a more intense instrumental, or have a more gruff voice when singing or something. You know what I mean? I didn't mean to get into this episode, but whatever. Stuff I'm interested in, and I'm hoping you're interested in it too, because the more people interested in that sort of thing, the better the entertainment will be in the future. Again, something... Well, I am not good at talking right now. Another thing, or something that I really like about watching YouTube is you have the visuals, but the main thing with most YouTube videos for me is the audio that accompanies it, and more so the talking than music or whatever that we would traditionally think of audio as. Like, if someone has uninteresting commentary, even up against the most interesting gameplay ever, someone could be a professional at some insanely difficult game. Like, you could see someone beat Dark Souls in 10 minutes, and if they don't have good commentary, at least for me, if they have bad commentary mixed in with the good footage, then it's just not a good video. Like, it might be cool to watch, and you'll watch it once or twice, but then after that, the novelties wore off, and it's not a good video anymore. But if that same person was making quips and making everything funny and messing around as he was talking, then it would be a great video. Oh, I have to stop now, by the way. This is an incredibly useful ability. You can hit switches with it, and you can kill these guys, which give you a ton of experience, especially early on, and it does a lot of damage. It destroys those blobs of grossness that is given off by a lot of characters, or a lot of enemies' projectiles. I wasn't even paying attention. I was so engrossed in my own one-sided conversation that I didn't even think of what was happening in the game. That's cool. We have one of the most useful abilities in the game now. I mean, I'd say this one has the most utility, because something like double jumping, it's only useful for platforming, but the stomp, it's useful for puzzles, it's useful for platforming in some capacities, it's useful for opening new areas like that, it's useful for combat. Excuse me. I would say bash is probably the most useful ability in the entire game, or at least most versatile, with I forget what it's called, something, light something, I don't know, coming close to second, because it's also used for combat, it's used for puzzle solving, it's used for platforming, it extends your jump, you can bash off of it, which can redirect it, stuff like that. Let's see, what else? Oh, cool, secret. That's an ability cell that I don't want yet. I can't go that way yet. Trust me, avoiding those for now is better in the long run. I don't know if I'll come back and get things that I've already ran past, dang it, later on off camera. Like, if I'll come back 100% these things off camera or on camera. Probably on camera. Just because, what else is the point of doing this? I'm gonna go ahead and soul link right there. There we go. We got one of these guys. This is what I was talking about with the bash earlier. They're green. I believe it's a green variant. Where in the world? Is this the Moon Grotto? Are we back in the Moon Grotto? Interesting commentary, I know. Thank you for noticing. Okay. Maybe I should go back to talking and completely ignoring what's happening on screen. That's probably not a good idea. Okay. That's not the button I meant to press. Gonna be entirely honest. Okay. I'm working on a video. My only... Okay. My only problem with it is the last part, or one of the last parts of the game that I'm doing the video on is annoying and difficult, and I don't like doing it. It's the worst part of the game. You'll know what I'm talking about when the video gets there. Why am I dying to this one stupid spider thing? These things are easy. Why am I bad? The part of the game is not fun, and it's tedious and annoying, and I don't think anybody likes doing it. Or if you do, then you'd like it for the exact opposite reasons of why I hate it. Like, it can be fun. Like, personally, I really enjoy killing Lynels in Breath of the Wild, but that's tedious. But with the game, it has to do with killing an enemy to get a thing that you need to beat the game. I don't know if I've given enough to tip off what it is, but I want to make that video because it's going to be higher quality, and I'll have a lot more production value than this, or than my other videos even. But at the same time, I don't want to beat the game. It's because it sucks. Which also changes an idea for a video on the same game that I had, or an idea for quite a while ago. How it was such an amazing game that with so few flaws, but it has flaws, quite a few. So much so that I've never beaten it. Again, those videos will come out in due time. So, and then when they do, I'll put a link, I'll put a card, that's what I'll do, later on when they do come out, if that's anytime soon, and I actually remember. Okay. I don't like these things. The fact that they're instant death, no matter how much health you have, is really stupid in my opinion. Okay, there we go. Those obstacles are actually the worst later on, in One Life mode. One Life mode is scary. The farthest I've gotten in One Life mode, I think, was actually here, and I died, and I just kind of gave up. Okay. Taking a pause there was not a good idea. Okay, we're good, we're fine, we're safe. It's okay. Do I need dash to get through this? I think I need dash to get through that. We'll come back, we'll come back. I don't remember if dash is an ability you get from definitive. No, it's not. Is it? Hold on. Whoops, that's not what I wanted. Is it in here? Dash is an ability you get from definitive. It's only in definitive. I don't know. That's weird, because I remember it not being that. Huh, oh well. This music, the music from this game reminds me of Titan Souls and Moonlighter, but also has its own flair to it. It's really hard to explain. The music in this game is really good. I'm gonna get this ability cell now. I said I didn't want to get any yet, but screw it. There are quite a few in the game, so getting one or two early won't matter. I'm not entirely sure. I was gonna say I don't know what my goal is, but then I realized that I do know what my goal is, and I'm just stupid. Okay. Okay. We're good. We're safe. This thing again is absolutely the worst. We can do this. No we can't because we're too far. We can, yeah, there we go. And this does a lot of damage to these things, but it also lets them get close to us, which isn't a good thing. It's not fun, and it's the worst because these enemies are the worst because it's just a war of attrition. I can't get up there yet. I probably could, but I don't want to try. What's over here? Is there something over here? No, there isn't. Okay. I was gonna say, I don't remember there being anything over there, but it looked like there was a secret there. There's gotta be a way up here without... Oh yeah, right here. Oh, wow. Have I already gotten this? Because it feels like I've already come up here. Yeah, I have. Okay. I could have just used a spirit well to warp. You know... We'll ignore my shortcomings for now. What's over here? Another ability cell. Screw it. Going for it. At this point, I think it's fine to just start getting them. Because in normal mode, I had extra. Like, quite a few extra, actually. like more extra than I thought I'd ever have. By the point, or at the point that I was actually done with the game, I had 2 or 3 extra ability points. What the heck? Oh, okay, we can't open that yet. Am I going the right way? Yeah, I am. We're good. Okay. When we get back, or when we get to a spirit well, I'm going to use it to get back to the spirit tree. I don't like these things. Oh, we're back to the Ginso tree. Oh yeah, okay, yeah, that makes sense. I was gonna say, wait a sec, isn't that where we started? But then I realized that no, that is not in fact where we started. We started somewhere else entirely because the end of the Ginso tree kicks you out entirely. Okay, I'm gonna wait for this thing to come around. And we're gonna go down here and get to the spirit well over here. I don't want to leave it here, but I think that might be a good idea because next we're just, that's not what I meant to do. I'll get this first actually. These two are garbage, but they're useful for these, or the next two. So I think I'm gonna get this because this one's more useful than this one. Anyway, can I save? There we go. Okay, thanks for watching this episode of Ori and the Blind Forest. Next one, we're gonna be doing things. I don't know how to end this.